Good morning, it's Claire here. It's great to be with you for another Thought for the Day. This morning I just wanted to not share like a whole chapter, but share about a book that I've been reading over lockdown. It's called Hind's Feet on High Places. It's by Hannah Hurnard. I think it's quite a classic. And it's an allegory, it's a story of this woman that is, she's called Much Afraid, which tells you about her character. And she's plucked from this village, called by name by this shepherd that lives in this village where she lives. And he calls her and says, come to the high places, the mountains, I want you to come with me. And it's something she's always longed for. And then we see this journey of her eventually going with the shepherd. But it's a journey. There's these high places right on the top of the mountain, but along the way she has to go through these rocky places, and she has to climb. Mountains are not easy to climb, and at one point she's reached quite a height, and then the trail leads her down into this valley, and she's looking down at this valley, this deep dark valley, and she's like, why? What am I doing here? Like, I've come so far and I have to go down into this valley. And she has this choice kind of on the mountainside to almost pack up and go home, or to keep going where the shepherd is leading her. And she actually ends up making kind of an altar there on the mountainside, an altar where she kind of gives her heart and says, I will go where you lead me. And it's a beautiful story. I encourage everyone, if you get a chance, to take a look at it. But as I was thinking about this story again this morning, I was thinking about Psalm 23. I am pretty sure that it's been shared about by one person or more than one person in these thoughts for the day, but I think it's always a great psalm to meditate on and to listen to and to read again. And so I've been reading it again this morning and yesterday. And I'll probably read it in a minute, but one bit actually is sticking out to me that I wanted to highlight is in verse 6 that talks about God's goodness and mercy. So this is kind of like the valley, the valley, the shadow of death. It's like the story that I read, this dark place. But then at the end, it talks about God's goodness and mercy that follows us all the days of our life. So God's goodness, God is talking about how God is perfectly good in all that he does, and his mercy, his unconditional love for us. And there's two things about this. Firstly, the follow me, it will follow us bit, that goodness and mercy will follow us. Actually, like when David's writing this, when I think of, it's following me, I think about someone following me in their car where I'm leading them, somewhere they don't know the way, or even like someone who's following you, they're skirting around, they're like round the corner sort of thing. And I think, follow me maybe is almost too tame a word. Like actually, when you look further into the translation and stuff, actually a lot of it is it's pursuing us, chasing us. David, was chased a lot in his life, particularly before he became king. And I think David is talking about how the goodness and love is chasing us down, is pursuing us. It's not just like, it's a little bit behind us and kind of following us. Like, no, it's like chasing us down. We can't get away from it. No matter how far we run, it's constantly like keeping up with us and right on our heels. So just that first thing, that we just can't get away from God's goodness and his mercy. And then the second bit, that all the days of my life, I think about today and I think about tomorrow, where we're like, okay, yes, I have God's goodness and mercy and I have it with me and we need that, and I'm going to have it for my tomorrow. But even for our past, I feel like even if there's been days in our past or even recently where we're like, where were you, God? But we have this truth here that says God's goodness and mercy were with us on that day. So I'm going to read this psalm because I just think it's beautiful. And whether it's that part of the psalm or whatever, I pray that God speaks to you through it. Speaks right to your heart for where you're at today, for whatever you need today. So Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me, shall chase me down all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Thank you for these promises today, Lord. Will we hear them today, where we're at? Amen. Have a great day, guys.